we're looking at Fearless to be authoritative and playful, mature and classic, but also a little bit of a rebel, like you guys. Challenging the status quo, because thinking outside the box is a critical component of anybody's personality, if you will, and then also the professional world. And then Fearless, by its design, is something that's revolutionary. It's not just a step in the right direction. It is a completely new concept and a completely new idea. And so once we have all of that stuff in place, then the quote unquote the creative part happens. And so what I'm showing you guys here are just a couple of photos from my sketchbook that we explored to see what we can do in creating the Fearless logo. As you guys can tell, I've explored a whole bunch of different things, looking at literal interpretations, looking at how we can play around with letters. F, you'll notice a picture of what looks like an eagle. I promise you it's a hawk or a falcon, if you will. And then F associated with the falcon's personality attributes also, kind of go hand in hand with what we're trying to do as a brand. Anyway, long story made short, through iterations and refinements, we ultimately ended up at this sketch over here, which kind of gave us the beginnings of what the brand ultimately could be. And by the way, if you remember back to the earlier part of the presentation, we ended up creating what is referred to as a combination mark because it contains both the word mark as well as an abstract shape. And I'll tell you about some of the hidden Easter eggs in there as well. So as we go through this, so the logo that we came up with actually has a double meaning. While the logo at first glance might look like a bit of a maze, and that's intentional because Fearless does actually help you navigate the maze, which is the education, leadership, all those great things that the curriculum consists of. It also, if you look very closely, you'll notice a letter number 5 in there. And that number 5 stands for a Fearless methodology. And if you look even closer, that number 5 is comprised of intertwined Fs facing on each other, right? And we have all of this double meaning in the logo. We have a very simple shape that can be applied. We are looking at our scorecard, making sure that it's distinctive, visible, adaptable, memorable, universal, timeless, and simple. And also to kind of give you guys an idea of how I go from a sketch that happens on graph paper to something that feels a lot more predictable and rhythmic and kind of by the grid. I go through the process of taking the sketch, putting it against this golden ratio, which, by the way, we can, this is another session that we can talk about. This is ultimately the thing that governs all the beautiful things that happen in this world outside of design. It delegates, for instance, if you look at a beautiful flower and you're like, wow, that's a beautiful flower. The reason you think that's a beautiful flower is because this golden ratio underneath it has those patterns, has all those great rhythmic things that your cognitive system perceives as beautiful. So we obviously wanted to make that happen for our brand as well. And then once we anchor it within that, we put it within the logo grid to make sure that all of the lines within the logo are not rough like I had in my sketch, but they're also done in a very sort of purposeful, concrete way. And out of that, we got our Fearless logo. And that's basically the process by which we thought about how we should create the brand, how we should create the logo itself, what the expression of the brand is, and all those different things. And this is just sort of a small sliver of the process that we took to put all of this together.